Hey guys, Real Randy Chavez here, coming at you with a Pokemon sales video. This is what we are going to do today. The most recent video was stock and Pokemon video. If you want to watch that, by all means go ahead. If not, here we go, right into it. We had a Blastoise base set, first edition PSA 9. There was a couple of these, and remember when I said a bunch of these original base set cards are going to go higher, especially the holos? I'll talk about that. I'll get into sales in a second. There was a post on E4 asking which cards do you think are undervalued right now. Base set, first edition, holos, PSA. I specifically said PSA 10s, but the 9s as well. You know, with that will come the rise of the 9s, 8s. I'm falling on my air conditioner thing. And based on that, and this auction was going on well before I posted that, but I had said that originally like a couple of videos ago, and I guess it's starting already. Some other cards I think that are really undervalued are Giovanni's Persian, which I think I mentioned on here already. You know, if that has around the same PSA 10 copies as Misty's Golduck, and Misty's Golduck is my offer for $4,000 to someone got declined for first edition PSA 10 Misty's Golduck. This is getting of Giovanni's Persian for $2,400, which is the last price point. That's definitely a steal. Either way, moving on into it, this Blastoise, I think the last one sold for $2,200. This Blastoise, first edition, PSA 9 base set, sold for $2,761.77. And a lot of these, like, the last bids after the winning bid was 2.7, 2.6, 2.5, and 2.4. So a bunch of these people were willing to pay a record price for that card. Gengar, first edition, PSA 9. Remember how I said there'd be a retrace because that one that sold for $400-something yesterday made no sense? This sold for $295. That makes a lot more sense. Between that $230 and $330 mark, eventually it'll go up. Eventually it'll be $500, eventually it'll be more, but right now that's the price point for it. Moltres, first edition, PSA 9 from the Fossil set as well. Holo sold for $225. Dark Blastoise, first edition PSA 9 from the Rocket set, sold for $307. We had a Blaine's Charizard, first edition PSA 9. Remember how like a week ago, 2 weeks ago, when there was a bunch of them selling and that's why the price went down? There's a supply and demand, guys. There's no difference between this Charizard, first edition PSA 9, versus Blaine's Charizard, first edition PSA 9 of 2 weeks ago. The only difference is that in the ones that were selling 2 weeks ago, you had your option of like 6 or 7 of them. Now, this was the only one that was on. So, top 4 bids were $890, $898, $1,150, and $1,175. Record price point, and it's probably there to stay as long as the market doesn't get flooded again with them. Misty's Tentacruel, first edition PSA 9, sold for $96. Speaking of Misty's Tentacruel, all right, well, I guess we'll get to the other one later. Outside of that, there's another Misty's Tentacruel. Wait in the video for it. Ninetales, base set, first edition PSA 9, sold for $915. Okay, this is another reason why first edition is undervalued. Because Charizard, first edition PSA 9, Blaine's Charizard, first edition PSA 9, is not the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, or even sixth set. It is, in the first generation, but many sets came out before the Gym Challenge set. And for the Gym Challenge, when you have Blaine's Charizard, agree, that's my favorite card. That is a fantastic card, but PSA 9 of any set outside of base selling for more than a first edition PSA 9 holo in base set, it's a little ridiculous. This Ninetales sold for $915, whereas Blaine's Charizard got $1175. Again, I love Blaine's Charizard. I think that's better artwork. I think it's it's a Charizard, but a first edition base set, first edition PSA 9, that any first edition PSA 10, a holo from base set, should not be under $3,000. Should not. The 9 shouldn't be under $1,000. Again, that's just my opinion, but that's what's going on. That's what we're seeing. Either way, I think that is a record price point for Ninetales, that PSA 9. Rocket Zapdos, first edition PSA 9, sold for $153. We had a Gold Star, BGS 9, a Gold Star Charizard. Prices are insane as well. Now, this one had a 8.5 for the corners. Now, the centering on the surface had 9.5, and the edges were 9, but I usually don't buy BGS 9 anything below 9, any of the subgrades, but this one had a subgrade of 8.5, and this was still a record price point. The last one sold for like 1.2, 1.3K maybe. This one, okay, so the top 4 bids, 1525. The third bid came in at 1850. That tied with the second bid at 1850. The second bid, the bidder that had 1850, had no feedback. But that being said, the one 1525, which would have been record price point, had a lot of feedback. Same thing with 1850, and the winning bid of $1,875. That was a winning bid for that record price point. It's great. We had a Misty. Oh no, I'm sorry. We had a Rocket's Trap from Gym Heroes. Rocket's Trap is Cassidy from the Pokemon anime, and it's very, very similar to Here Comes Team Rocket, the other one that's similar to the Rocket set. So it's very similar. Rocket's Trap and Gym Heroes very similar to Rocket. The other one in that, either way, this first edition PSA 10 got $202. That is record price point. So a bunch of these are from the Gym Heroes one. We have Misty, first edition PSA 10, sell for $540. Lieutenant Surge, first edition PSA 10, sell for $960. Erica, first edition PSA 10, sold for $366. And then we had Brock. I know he's here. I wrote him down. The fudge did he go? Did I miss it? I completely missed it? Okay, well, I know I wrote it down. Or maybe I didn't, but either way, it was $1,900. That's what he sold for. Oh, yeah. Brock, first edition PSA 10, sold for $1,925. Now, the top 4, the last one sold for like 1.5 grand. People were going nuts because saying, "Oh, it was a trainer." There's only 44 PSA 10 copies of that. But the fourth bid, which would have been around the record price point, 1.5 grand, that had 0 feedback. But everyone else, 1650, a lot of good feedback. 1.9 grand, a lot of good feedback. $1,925 a winning bid. Now, there's some things I want to go over with the Gym Hero set. Now, the Misty and Erica, we'll look at them first. Erica has 109 PSA 10 copies. Misty has 114 PSA 10 copies. And then there was another Erica that sold first edition PSA 10 for 315. So 366, 315. Let's average it at 350, even though the average is definitely more in the middle in the 340s. Why did that get so much less, or so much less than Misty? Misty's just a fan favorite. Misty, just everyone knows Misty from the cards, the game, anime, the anime especially. Misty's one of the first characters introduced that sticks with Ash throughout the whole thing. And, most of the seasons until like season 5. And I think she's even mentioned in the 6th movie. She's in like the first bunch of the movies of Pokemon. Anyway, that's just a fan favorite. So when it comes down to, yes, numbers play a thing, but Misty, there's 169 PSA 9 copies, and Erica is only 151. So there's less of Erica in PSA 9 and PSA 10, and it's still not getting as much because, again, fan favorite. If you have, if there was only 44 PSA 10 Misties, as opposed to, same as Brock, I guarantee Misty would go for over $2 grand. It would be so much, because, again, Misty's a fan favorite. Everyone loves her. Now, moving on to Lieutenant Surge, where it's almost $1,000 card, which eventually it will be because there's only 66 PSA 10 copies. So, thinking about, let's say, Koga's Beedrill, I think, has 60-something, and that's almost $1,000 card as well. So the next one of those will get up there. Now, Lieutenant Surge has 202 PSA 9 copies. And so it's, 50 copies more than Erica or Misty. So it's not the fact that people aren't sending him in because they don't like him. They didn't like him. They're sending him in, but that card is genuinely hard to grade. And that's why it only has 66 PSA 10 copies, because it's just hard. Now, Brock, he has the 44 PSA 10 copies, and same thing, 166 PSA 9. So Brock and Lieutenant Surge are just hard to grade. And that's why they get those premiums. It's not like people back, the last couple of years, they're just not sending them in because, they don't like the trainer. They think it's not going to be worth that much. It's just they're hard to grade, and that's why you get a premium for those. Rocket Scyther, first edition PSA 10, got $1,425. And Rocket's Moltres, first edition PSA 10, got $690. Now here's another example. Rocket Scyther. Again, why is Moltres, a legendary bird, not getting as much as Scyther? Well, Rocket's Moltres has 100 PSA 10 copies. Rocket Scyther only has 60 PSA 10 copies. So that's why it's going for double of what the Rocket's Moltres is. And it is cool artwork. If you're going to get a Moltres, Blaine's Moltres is probably my favorite Moltres. The original Moltres is cool, but Blaine's Moltres is amazing. Just outclasses Rocket's Moltres, I think, in every way. Rocket's Hitmonchan, first edition PSA 10, sold for $320. This video is going to get long, so I'm going to keep it moving. Misty's Tentacruel, first edition PSA 10, sold for $611. This is the one that I want to go over. So Misty's Tentacruel PSA 9 got 96, and if we use my formula, the 10 sells for 5 to 8 times what the 9 is. That holds true for this. 611 is between 5 and 6 times as much as the 9 of 96. So Lieutenant Surge's Magneton, first edition PSA 10, sold for $450. Lieutenant Surge's Pharaoh, first edition PSA 10, sold for $1,552. I think that's a record price point. I'm not 100% sure on that. Erica's Vileplume, first edition PSA 10, sold for $355. Lieutenant Surge's Electabuzz, first edition PSA 10, sold for $356. Erica's Dragonair, first edition PSA 9, first edition PSA 10, sold for $535. Erica's Clefable, first edition PSA 10, sold for $475. Brock's Rhydon, first edition PSA 10, sold for $615. Nice. Sabrina's Gengar, first edition PSA 9, sold for $550. Now this is a card that is the 10 sold for like 2.3. So this doesn't follow that rule of the 5 to 8. Again, the very extreme cases, you'll see the 10 sell for 10 times as much as the 9, and for 3 times as much as the 9. Those are the extreme cases. The average is 5 to 8. The 3 to 10 is the extreme. And anything outside of those parameters, something is wrong. Like I said, anything that's outside of it, I think. What is the Metal Energy? Metal Energy from that Neo Genesis set. That first edition PSA 10 sells for like 12, 13 times what the 9 and 8 sell for. Like it's crazy. Same thing. That's why I bought a bunch of Laprases from Fossil and Misty's Golduck. At the time when they were $120, $130. Now moving on past that, we have Misty Seadra, first edition PSA 9, sell for $150. $150. My hiccups. I'm so sorry, guys. Blaine's Moltres, first edition PSA 9, sold for $465. So the Blaine's Moltres PSA 9 sold for about $225 less than the PSA 10 of Rocket's Moltres. So that's something that I think definitely says something about the artwork, which has a play in it. And I don't know how many PSA 10 copies there are. There are obviously less than 100. But, the artwork is beautiful. Artwork definitely plays a factor in worth. Dark Golbat, first edition PSA 10, sold for $270. Dark Hypno, first edition PSA 10, sold for $203. Dark Dragonair? Dark Dragonite, first edition PSA 10, sold for $1,075. Venusaur, base set. Another one, like I said, it had the base set is going to spike. First edition PSA 10. There were only 6 bidders on this. So be advised, and the 6 bidders bid $48.50, which would have been a new record price point, I think, as well. $49.50, $5,100, $5,200, and the last 2 were $6,296, and the winning bid was $6,396.95. So that is something that is absolutely crazy. New record price point by a couple thousand at least. Publicly sales. I don't know privately if that had sold for more. I don't think it had. Blaine's Rhyhorn, first edition PSA 10, sold for $36 for that common card, and then $12 shipping. So that's a card that a couple months ago you could have got for $20, $120, and this one got $36 plus $12 shipping. Was the growth in that card? Is it a one-off? I don't know. Dark Charizard, first edition PSA 10. A lot of record prices here. And this is from a seller with only a 96.7 rating. Like that's 96.7, that's the percentage rating and how positive they are. And now, obviously, the law of averages is still very good. Maybe he sold a couple cards to this one person and they all just negative feedback for whatever reason. Maybe it's not a fault of his own. But generally anything under 98, people in eBay are just like, I don't know if I want to buy that. But either way, this was a great Charizard. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so 5. The last 2 sold for $2.2 grand, around that respectively. 5th bid was $2,273. 4th bid was $2,298. That would have been the record price point up until that time. 3rd bid was $2,473. The 2nd bid was $2,900, and the 3rd bid was just shy of the $3 grand mark at $2,950. This is this a little bit of a spike? Will the support line be about 2,400, 2,500? I don't know. All I know is my first edition PSA 10 Dark Charizard will not be sold for less than $3,000. I don't have it up for auction. I don't have it up for bid. It's in a safety deposit box. Speaking of safety deposit box, I got my Misty's Gold Duck today. That, along with a couple of others, go in a safety deposit box tomorrow. Once I get that Sabrina's Abra, number 94, and again, that's a common card I'll pay $200 for, I will list all. I took a bunch of pictures, the first 90, and I will list the entire thing. The only complete set, I will list it at $70,000 or best offer, and because again, that's the only complete set. Show me the cheaper option. Somebody has just the hollows placed for $50,000, and it's not even a complete set. Like it's missing one of the hollows, and the Erica's Venusaur is like a PSA 9. So I was like, what are you doing, guy? That's not. Anyway, moving on past that, we had Sabrina's Gengar first edition PSA 9, sell for $450. There was another Sabrina's Gengar that I had written down. Yeah. So one sold for $550, one sold for $450. Sabrina's Gengar PSA 9. So the $450 is in line with the 5 to 8 times. The $550 was not. We had a Blaine, just the Trainer Blaine first edition PSA 9 Hollow, sell for $99. Mine I wouldn't sell for under $100. Hitmonlee first edition PSA 10 sold for $535. So my Hitmonlee at $550, still record price point. But this $535 is a great. It's still very, very high, which is good, and I think that's what it's worth. Might be a little bit more by this point. Kyogre Gold Star EX Delta Species PSA 9 sold for $510. Now we have a T17 first edition BGS 9. This is something that I think sold for a lot less than what it was worth. I had an offer for my T17 for $2,000, turned it down. This one, now it's two categories: the centering and the edges were 9.5. The others were both 9s, but the subgrades 9. So this is almost a 9.5, and it had it only sold for $1,125. That'll convert over to PSA 9 easily. I should have bought it. I just didn't. Then there was this Gold Star raffle. This guy, he said that the raffles that he put out, and he showed pictures of a bunch of them, and he said there's a 1 in 5 chance that you'll get a Dark Charizard, but he showed like 15 Gold Stars. So I don't know. Either way, he said they were damaged to near mint. I don't like those raffles. I feel like you always get screwed with them. And what he had was it sold for $157. So whoever gets that, maybe they'll get a near mint one. Maybe they'll get a really poor damaged one. I don't know. But that's what I have for this. Sorry, this was a long video. Sorry, not sorry. Please like, comment, subscribe. Please let other people, preach my knowledge, what you guys know about it, what I know about it. Let it make you make money. Same with everyone else. I want everyone in Pokemon to make money. Have a good time. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.